Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is December 11th and we are down by my main power generation at the moment. I kind of ran into a issue earlier today where I was out of power, and there are a few different things going on. I think I've got the bulk of it addressed, but there are some other things that will need to be addressed pretty fast. As you can see, all these guys are shut off at the moment. So that'll be something I have to do basically immediately tonight because I am out of tritium. And that's because I am out of hydrogen. But that's... yeah, so basically I used hydrogen in this guy to make tritium. Now all these shut off because of the lack of that. And when I look in here, even... yeah, I'm not actually sure where most of my hydrogen is going. I know my combs aren't keeping up with processing, so that's also something too I can go about addressing. There's a couple different ways to go about it, like doing some space stations with some space pumping to like pump on Jupiter and stuff, which I've never messed around with, but I don't think I really want to do that right now, just because I don't know, it just seems kind of annoying. I think I'm just gonna set up a bunch of centrifuges out in the desert and call it a day. But for the moment, the other issue I had going on was I was running out of supercritical steam because I was also running out of distilled water. These things were not running because of the whole thing. I also changed how they are running. Instead of toggling constantly, I finally set up a little RS latch for them where, I think I did the limits as 10 million and 100 million. So now they don't toggle on and off, or the heat exchangers don't toggle on and off. But obviously they're using helium or the helium plasma as it all slowly counts down. But to actually get enough distilled water, because I ran out of power, these things also shut off. So I actually swapped over to these plasma generators, which I've turned off now because I crafted myself a Mega Distillery. Now, I did not look at the wiki before I crafted this thing, and I wasted a whole lot of materials. In reality, I could have just made it 3 tall because all I'm doing is water. It still would have been the 15 by 15, but it did not need to be this tall. So if I do start running into water issues again, I'll probably literally just mine out this line here, throw a distillation hatch here and all the other stuff it needs, and then just make more. But this didn't need to be the way it is, by all means. The other thing, and I don't know, I never thought about this before, so I was having a problem where after 6 seconds it would drop its 2 million. Even though I had hyper acceleration things in here, it still took like 4 or 5 seconds for it to register as empty, even though it was instantaneously empty. But yeah, it turns out you can just throw 2 output hatches. In this case, I crafted my first UV hatches, and now this guy doesn't skip a beat. And just in my drive home from work, I went from 10 million to about 200. So it looks like that thing by itself is not keeping up. So I might turn these guys back on, because between the 3 of them it was keeping up and got it fully maxed out, but we'll see. Because I don't have the hydrogen, I'm worried about burning extra helium more than I need to, which, don't get me wrong, I've got a little bit of a buffer room, but still, it would be bad if I ran out of this on top of everything else. Also, I've got a ton of helium too. Should probably set up helium. Well, I need helium-3 specifically to do the next tier of power generation, really, which would be tin plasma. That's something we're going to do sooner than later. Actually, I think after this I'm going to set up a bunch of auto crafting to craft up 7 Mark II reactors and all the other stuff that goes along with it to set up bigger, better power generation. But yeah, that's basically it for over here. The only other thing I really did before I realized I had all those issues going on was one of the things I addressed from yesterday. This is a real simple one, but I just set it up today. Is I set up these 2 rock breakers just with some lava, one bucket of lava, one bucket of water in the back. One of these is making cobblestone, one of these is making stone. So if we look in here, I've got 5 million stone, 5 million cobblestone, and I just have it on a little closed loop so it's not like dumping into the main system. But I had actually ran out of cobblestone, so like I was originally going to set up this next part as UV, but I couldn't because I actually needed cobblestone to be able to make the bedrockium, which I do plan on breeding the bedrockium bee no later than this weekend, so that wouldn't be an issue for too long, but it's still a silly issue to have, I feel like. So that is taken care of now. And then what do we have going on here? So I mentioned before I had ideas for how I was going to kind of start mass spamming buildings, and so part of why I didn't make too much like real progress today, or like progress in the quest book, was I spent a little while designing a building. It's nothing too crazy, made of like mostly common materials that I could just spam, so that way, and then spam machines inside them, since again we're in the regular overworld still, so still have things like rain, etc. But I didn't want to be spamming just roofs or buildings with no walls like this guy's kind of fated to become. So what I did was I built one and then tested to see if I could copy paste it, which I didn't have enough marble to finish copying the floor. But I also included things like the basement down here with lighting and stuff. And it did, for the most part, copy over real well. I didn't really have any issues. Just using the matter manipulator copies pretty easy. The one issue or kind of quirk that popped up was these double doors. It's not a big deal by any means, but this like template house that I'll use to copy paste, and I'm not going to build anything in this because I basically want to be able to just highlight this guy and then, paste it wherever, is if you have the double doors, and I think it's specifically the double doors because one of them kind of flips over, and that's not something you'll ever have in your AE system. It actually like glitches out and it can't finish the copy paste. I tried it again without the doors in because I was trying to figure out what was wrong, because I was able to copy paste individual walls and stuff before, and once I removed the doors, everything could copy paste just fine. And then, if there's something I don't like about this design, or maybe something I want to change aesthetically, I'll just change this template house, and then use, copy paste changes there. I did accidentally blow up a monster repeller earlier, kind of forgot, the rain thing. So this guy's just over here. And instead of running from the main controller underground, I did just decide to be a little lazy about it and drop a quantum ring down. I don't just kind of have this cable going above, kind of like a telephone line. But the only thing I have over here right now is battery, obviously. Then I was able to actually craft and set up successfully the Mega Blast Smelter, or Alloy Blast Smelter, I should say. This thing, it's not actually as fast as I'd hoped. I mean, it is a lot faster. I have it right away at the Electrum Flux coils and osmium glass, because I do want it to be UV. It is just CPM right now because I could not craft the UV energy hatches because of the bedrockium earlier. But I tested a few recipes, and it is definitely way faster, but still a little on the slow side. So one of the reasons I made this building basically a double, like you can tell from this line from the copy paste template over there, is I do want to spam one of these for all the main circuits, and then one for the like one-offs. So like 2 through 8 are the main ones, and then there's like a bunch of other random stuff that isn't crafted very often. But the way I went about it for now, just to have all the patterns over here, is I kind of set it up similar to my assembly line. And that is basically, I've just got a bunch of input hatches, one quad input hatch, and then same thing on this line. And all it is like each one of these input hatches is a different circuit. And then if you, keep forgetting how to fly. I don't have to be that far away. So basically, like this interface for Circuit 8, this is a bunch of Circuit 8 recipes. It dumps it into this little mini subnet. You can see it's all powered by quartz cable on every single one of these. The solid items go in here, and then this is a fluid storage bus, so the liquids come in here through this interface, and then this is all the way down to the fluid input hatch. It's fluid storage bus, dual interface, fluid storage bus, dual interface. So it just pushes all the items, or pushes all the liquids needed for any of the crafts all the way down here, and then all these can just be their different circuits. And then as I set up more of these, I can leave I don't even have to like remove them from this setup. I can just, hit this with, remove this interface and get the channel back. So, as I said, I think my main plan tomorrow is to try to expand power so I don't run out of power again, because that, it's always a pain in the butt when that happens and ends up wasting a bunch of time. I think I should be good for a little while, but what I have going right now is not going to sustain very long into UV, and we are all going to be about sustainability. Like I said, I'm going to go set up the centrifuges in the desert for more oxygen and hydrogen, and then maybe I'll even set one up for nitrogen. I'm not sure how I'm looking on that. Nitrogen. I've got a decent amount going on that. I know I might set something out in the desert as well, though, just to be generically making nitric acid, because I do need lots of that. And then, yeah, from there, it'll be, once I get those passive set up that are giving me problems at the moment and get those fully addressed, I'll come back to this little bit of quest line and start working our way towards what my original goal for today, which was being able to craft these guys, the fuel generator and the reactor. It's okay. With the little setup I have going up there, I only have 37,000 UU matter so far, so I still need to, speed it. Or I don't have a great amount of that, although, wait, that is kind of funny that that's nearly at the halfway mark of the other setup that's been running since LV, so, or late LV, early MV. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Appreciate anybody for watching, and I hope you have a good night. Goodbye.